Welcome back. I'm Roger Bodwin, president of Restaurant Rockstars, and I'm partnering with Performance Foodservice to present Restaurant Success, the series. In this second installment, I'll be covering logistics, or what you need to know to open the doors to your first restaurant. I hope you know that there's more in this series, and I hope you tune into each one and go back to our first installment, which was on leasing, owning, or buying a restaurant for sale. In upcoming installments, I'll be talking about building what I call your dream team staff. And that's really about empowering your team to serve and sell, to treat every customer like the most important customer, and training for maximum performance. That's what I call the dream team. Cost controls and maximizing profit is a system where you put an inventory system in place to calculate your true food, beverage, and labor costs, daily break-even, and other critical finances that you need to understand and know on a weekly basis. We make it simple. Building your brand is about marketing firepower and creating what I call affinity. That's that powerful sense of loyalty or belonging, where your customers feel like your place is their place, and they're quick to share their great times on social media. That's brand building. Know that all sessions are complimentary. A little bit more about me. I've been in this business for over 2 decades, and I'm proud to say that I created 4 high-volume, high-profit restaurants from scratch. I created systems that doubled my net profit over the average full-serve restaurant in America. I'm also the host of the weekly Restaurant Rockstars podcast, and I love talking shop with operators, so I'm also a personal restaurant coach and consultant. I'll tell you a little bit more about the systems I created in a moment. Let's talk about Performance Foods. They've been great partners. I've been a customer for over 20 years. Great people, great products, great service. You're also in really good hands. So let's begin. I'll be talking about the business plan. Now, a business plan is really a roadmap to guide your vision, and it's also necessary to attract financing. How are you going to know where you're going to go if you don't know how to get there, right? So it begins with a description of the opportunity, a detailed, compelling description that tells any potential investor what the idea is, why it's going to be successful, and all the details, the ins and outs, the wow factor. What are you going to do? The concept, the menu, everything should be briefly described in that opportunity. Market research supports that opportunity. It's going into the market and speaking to potential customers. It's scoping out locations, finding the best location, and also counting cars and figuring out traffic patterns. All of this is market research and much more that supports your idea. You're going to need 3 years of financial projections. Now, that part is a little challenging. You might work with a financial professional or an accountant to do this, but you can do it on your own. It begins with table turns. You have to figure out first, will you be open breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just lunch and dinner, or just dinner? And for each of those day parts, how many table turns do you think you'll have? That's essentially how many times will you fill those seats, or how many people will you serve, number of covers for each of those day parts. Then you figure out what is going to be the average check, or the average ticket they call it. That means how much will each individual person spend? Usually that's a drink and a meal. Sometimes it can include a meal, an appetizer and a drink, or a dessert and a meal and a drink. It's your combination, whatever you think is most realistic for your concept. You're gonna have to do all that math, and that will come up with a daily sales number, a weekly sales number. You're also gonna need to come up with your expenses. How much is your monthly rent? How much do you think payroll will be? And that's based on how many employees you'll have in each position, what those wages are gonna pay for each position, and then every other expense you're gonna have, right down to trash removal, window cleaning, what have you. You get the idea. I can help with this. A marketing plan is super important. How are you going to drive traffic to your new restaurant? What are you going to do to create a buzz in the marketplace that drives people in the door? But more importantly, how are you going to get people to share your message on social media, give you positive online reviews? That's really what it's all about. And most importantly, not spending lots of money on traditional marketing that costs you thousands of dollars, but there's no real way to track return on investment, okay? It's all about what can you do inexpensively that has the greatest return on investment, okay? That's your marketing plan. This is essentially a business plan that you'll have to write. It's a fun exercise. Financing your restaurant project. You have choices. You can look to angel investors. Angels usually live in most communities, and they're wealthy individuals that are usually retired business executives. They've had lots of success, and now it's really fulfilling for them to sort of mentor a business owner, take them under their wing, and perhaps finance their project if it's strong enough. You can also look to family or friends to fund the part of your project. Banks and credit unions are conventional sources of financing, as well as industry partners. There might be an existing restaurant owner that's looking to expand, and maybe they fall in love with your concept, thinks it's a hit, and they might invest in your project. So look high and low for possible restaurant financing sources. But know that you're also going to need a down payment, and that's anywhere from 15 to 20% of what you think the total project cost will be. Organizing your company is really a legal issue, and you must seek a qualified business attorney for this. More than likely, you're going to organize your business as a limited liability company, LLC, or a subchapter S corporation. The reason for this is liability protection, to protect you against lawsuits. And that's why you never ever want to organize as a sole proprietorship, because if you're a sole proprietorship and something happens, someone gets hurt or injured, depending on the severity of the episode, you could lose all of your personal assets. They can be attached. So you need to protect yourself personally by setting up either an LLC or a sub-S corporation. The laws in states are different, so again, consult with your attorney. Now, I want to give you a piece of advice. I've owned many restaurants, and in two particular cases, I've actually owned the business and the real estate. That's a really good idea, especially if you expand the business. And separating your operating restaurant company from the real estate company is really important also for liability protection. So consult your attorney. Let's talk about insurances. You're going to need several types of insurances this business. General liability covers you for most common occurrences, accidents, damage to the building, damage to personal property, things of that nature. Liquor liability is going to be protection if you serve alcohol. Fire and flood is self-explanatory. And know that if you plan on delivering, which is a must during COVID for many restaurants, you'll need additional insurance for delivery. But my best advice here is shop many agents, unless you already have an agent you're comfortable working with, and then make sure that that agent shops your business around to several large insurance carriers. You know all the big names in insurance. You see them on TV all the time. Licenses. Again, you'll need several licenses. You're going to need a federal tax ID number, a state unemployment number, a Board of Health license, what they call a victualer's license, which is really the license to serve food, a liquor license if you plan on serving beer, wine, or hard alcohol, as well as a resale certificate. Now, a resale certificate is important because when you shop different suppliers, they're likely to charge you sales tax on things unless you can prove that you're buying things to resell to the public. Check with your state for all the licenses you need in your particular state. Let's talk about personnel. The lifeblood of your business, the foundation of your business are your team and your staff. You'll need to come up with an employee manual that obviously comes up with all the policies and procedures and outlines them in great detail so that there's no question. It's also legal protection if something happens with an employee and they go to the Department of Labor. You need to document everything. Disciplinary actions, anything that happens, you should keep a personnel file on every person. It begins with their application, of course, how much you're paying them, their W-2 information, all of that is important. Your W-4 information for taxes and all the information on discipline. When things happen, you have to have a policy in place. Warning perhaps the first time, a written warning the second time, and then termination. You need to document why you terminated someone. Personnel is a system unto itself. Bookkeeping, payroll, and taxes, another really meaty issue. You're either going to look in-house or hire outside professionals. Let me ask you something. Does someone on your team, a spouse, a partner perhaps, or yourself, have basic accounting knowledge? If so, you might want to bring this in-house. QuickBooks by Intuit is the standard bookkeeping software that works on just about any device. I've been using it for about 23 years now. It's seamless and easy. And it teaches you as well the basic accounting knowledge, but it always helps to have that prior knowledge. Payroll and payroll taxes are a little bit more complicated. I've never dared to go down that road. I've always hired outside professionals. There's just too many documents to file on a quarterly basis. And then weekly, how many payroll tax dollars come out of each person's paycheck? It's a little daunting, and you're going to have your hands busy with every other detail of running your restaurant. And an absolute must, of course, is hiring a CPA or certified public accountant to help you not only plan your taxes, but also prepare your tax returns for year end. I want you to know that for true restaurant success, you only need 3 things. This is the secret sauce, the systems I'm talking about. 1, cost controls and profit maximization. 2, of course, building that dream team staff. And 3, marketing firepower. I want you to know that all these systems are in a turnkey package called the Restaurant Rockstars Academy. It includes everything you need to start a first restaurant, buy a restaurant, buy land and build a building, all the logistics that we talked about today, as well as the systems that we talked about. Everything is included that you need to rock your restaurant. How to get it? Go to the OneSource Solution Partners page at performancefoodservice.com/OneSource. I'm also offering a 10% exclusive discount on the Academy exclusively for Performance Foods customers. Don't forget, we have other elements in this series. Again, you may have missed leasing, owning, or buying a restaurant for sale, which was the first installment, so please go back and check that out. And don't miss building a dream team staff, cost controls and maximizing profit, and building your brand. Remember, all sessions are complimentary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next installment.